sweet friends, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe, and welcome to today's video, which is a very specific one. Now, if you missed my announcement video, I am hosting a month-long readathon in the month of September called the Everbloom Academy. I will leave it in the cards and description if you want to hear more about it. But the purpose of today's video is to tell you guys about books that would fit every prompt in this readathon. So there's a lot on this list, and I will not be going through the synopses for each one. Basically, this is a rapid fire, this book fits this prompt kind of idea. And I will say I have not read every single book, but I have heard of all of these, and I am like 99% sure they would fit the prompts. So don't take them as like, I love these books, read these books. It's more as if you're struggling to find a book for a specific prompt, feel free to use these ideas. Obviously, there are so many more out there that would fit each and every single prompt, but the aim of the game here is I chose books that are either very easy to get a hold of, books that would fit multiple prompts, because as you may know, you can double up on prompts, and I will say I could not have gone through all of these prompts without the help of a new friend of mine and a Patreon member who is named Sarah. Sarah, thank you. I love you with all my heart. Sarah is a great person, one of the kindest people I've met here, and she created this whole like Excel with middle grade books that fit each prompt. I will leave a Google Docs with the like screenshot she sent me down below. So some of these are featured in my list, and the others I wanted as like extras. So everyone say thank you to Sarah, and if you have any other recommendations you want to add, leave them in the comments below. I'm sure it will help other people out. With that being said, there will be timestamps if you want to like go through only specific prompts. And with that long intro aside, let's just hop on in. Actually, I lied. I will say there are some middle grade books recommended here, but I also included some young adult and adult books as well in case you are not a middle grade reader and obviously still want to participate. There's some recommendations for you as well. Now get comfy and let's get to going through this list. So prompt number 1, and most likely the easiest prompt for a lot of people to fulfill, is Arcane Ethics, which is a book that teaches you a lesson, or a book that features a good versus evil vibe. For that, I have a few middle grade books that I suggest. One is The School of Good versus Evil. That entire series definitely fits the bill for this prompt. We have Percy Jackson, or pretty much any book that has been written by Rick Riordan definitely teaches you a lesson. There's a lot of good versus evil in those books as well. So I feel like it's an easy thing if you want to like pop in the audiobook and just kind of like live through the nostalgia of Percy Jackson. It fills this prompt. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I have an entire deep dive in that book, but that book is definitely all about teaching you lessons, and it also has an evil character who like we need to fight, and so that also fits the prompt. Tress of the Emerald Sea is obviously an adult book, but it definitely can appeal to middle grade readers. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, or again any Matt Haig books. Matt Haig really puts it like right front and center, the morals of his stories, and I definitely think it fits the prompt. So if you're more of a literary fiction reader, that's for you. And I also put down Assistant to the Villain, which is a kind of like romantasy where obviously we are following an assistant to a villain, and so the good versus evil is very much prominent in that book, and the sequel just released, so if you wanted to get on into that series, highly recommend. The second prompt we have is Geography of Everbloom Academy, which is to read a book that has a map or travel words. Now, some of my favorite middle grade books to recommend would be Fireborn. That series has a lot of adventure in it, and I do think it also has a map. If you want to hear more about that book and my love for it, I do have a review up on my channel. Another book that I personally really want to read is Map of Flames, which sounds like a really fun, adventurous middle grade, and I know Sarah also mentioned Ship of Shadows by Maria Kuzniar. That is on her list. However, I will say I DNF'd that book, but I know it was very much beloved by a lot of people in the middle grade community, so that is definitely one that has a map and a lot of traveling in it. It's set on a ship. We have oh boy, I am struggling to pronounce this book, but it's another one I'm super excited for, is Adia Kelbara and the Circle of Shamans, which also has a map, and I believe there is some travel involved in that story. I also have The Last Map Maker, which is a middle grade that just came on my radar and I purchased very recently, that has a map. It has the word map in the title as well, and features travel. We have Mia and the Lightcasters, which also has a map. And for all of my adult fantasy readers, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Almost any book by Brandon Sanderson definitely fits the bill here as well, because they are big, they are chunky, and you need a map to figure out where it is exactly you are. So those would be some of my recommendations for that prompt. But again, it's a pretty easy prompt. So many books have maps in them. Granted, if you read romance, might be a little bit more difficult. So I wish you luck. For History of Magic, again, if you read fantasy, primarily most fantasy books have a magic-based system somewhere in there, or one character has magic. Some of the middle grade books I can think of off the top of my head were Tide Magic, A Pinch of Magic, Pages & Co., which, don't even get me started how much I love Pages & Co. Nevermoor, also a fantastic choice if you want to start rereading for the book that literally comes out in 2025. Arcspire by Jamie Littler, or even Frostheart, has magic as well. And I also have, like, obviously with History of Magic, if you're a romance reader or fantasy, I'm sure you have a long TBR, but Blood Mercy by Vila Roth, if you were a romantasy reader, definitely fits the bill. It's one I am considering for my TBR that I have yet to build, but those are definitely some books featuring magic. Again, most of my middle grade books would fit the bill. I have like 3 bookshelves filled with books that have magic in them. And if you need any more recommendations or want more recommendations, feel free to like hit me up in the comments and I'll try to help you out depending on what it is you enjoy. The next category is one I have a lot of recommendations for, and it is Ancient Languages, which is a translated book or a book with 5 words or more in the title. The first I have to recommend is Sorcelenne, which is a middle grade graphic novel series that was originally written in French and was translated to English. I also have The Girl Who Dreamed in Magic, which is another book by Maria Kuzniar, which I want to try. 5 or more words in the title. Keeper of the Lost Cities, that entire series, you're sure to get at least 5 words in the title. Ember Spark and the Thunder Dragons is one that has more than 5 and would fit many a prompt. Amari and the Night Brothers and the newest Amari release that is coming out at the end of August would definitely fit the bill. Where the Dark Stands Still is a YA fantasy. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. What you are looking for in the library is both more than 5 words and a translated work. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, also a translated work with 5 or more words in the title. Black Ties and White Lies by Gat Singleton for all of my romance girlies. Ruby Ramos's Recipe for Success is a YA contemporary, one of my favorite books of all time if you haven't read it yet. As well as Our Way Back to Always by Nina Moreno, also one of my favorites. Both of these, or at least Our Way Back to Always, I know is in my like list of all-time favorite books that I posted on YouTube. And another romance book which I thought of is In Your Dreams, Holden Rhodes by Stephanie Archer, who is a Canadian author. So in here I feel like there's a good mixture, fantasy, middle grade, romance. I feel like there's a lot of thrillers with 5 or more words in the title. It's not the hardest prompt, again, or a translated work. I know there's a lot of fantasy books that were translated, so I'm hoping you guys can find something. And the last prompt that everybody needs to fulfill is Magibotony, which is a book with plants that is featured. I will say, because I've gotten this question a few times, this could also feature like flowers or anything remotely close to that, because I know plants is very specific, so you can like, you know, expand that prompt to fill your needs, and that could be in the cover, in the book, whatever you like. Some things I thought of were Spell Shop. That cover is filled with plants and stuff. Wayward is a book I've heard a lot of people talk about. I don't exactly know if it's fantasy or it's like mystery thriller. I don't really know what that book is. I know there's a lot of plants on the cover though. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies has some flowers, I believe, on the cover. Forget Me Not by Julie Soto has a bunch of flowers and follows a florist, I believe. We have Tom Lake, which the cover has a lot, again, of flowers on it. I've seen this book everywhere, have no idea what it's about, but I know it fills the prompt in that capacity. We have In the Weeds, which has flowers on it, as well as I Can Fix That. Also has someone holding flowers on the cover. And Terms and Conditions follows a lady who loves plants, so that counts as well. Moving on to electives, you need to choose one or more than one if you have time during the month, but at least one of the electives. So the first elective you can choose is Musicraft, which is to read a book featuring music, musicians, those kinds of things. I have a pretty fair amount of books to recommend for this one. One is Mystic School of Musicraft, which is what inspired this prompt. I have a full review of that book up on my channel. Daisy Jones and the Six is an easy one. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, if you want a nostalgia read, older YA. I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman also has like celebrity or someone who does music. I don't remember exactly, but I know it fits. Radio Silence is a stretch, but I would accept it, or like books like that for this prompt. We Sold Our Souls, which is by Grady Hendrix, is a thriller slash horror book. This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Grown by Tiffany Jackson, one of my favorite books. It is a little bit hard to read emotionally, but I absolutely adored it. We also have Idol, which is a romance book that deals with like celebrities. Heartbreakers, which is one of, again, my favorite YA novels, and it has to do with people, like a band, boys who play music. When It's Real by Aaron Watt has a singer in it, and Fallen Star by Susanna Nix, that whole series. Chef's Kiss also has to do with like celebrities and people doing music. For the second elective choice, we have Unicorn and Dragon Writing, which is to read a book featuring a dragon or unicorn. Pretty self-explanatory. For that, I have Unicorn Legacy, which is a middle grade book I'm super excited to read. Paper Dragon, Skandar and the Unicorn Rider, which, if you are not new here, my love of Skandar, I'll never shut up about it. Dragon Legend and that entire series. I read the first of that middle grade series. The audios are really fun, and it's just an easier book to digest if you're looking for something smaller. City of Dragons is a middle grade graphic novels featuring dragons. Curse of the Phoenix has unicorns in there, I believe. Impossible Creatures, I believe, has dragons. Priory of the Orange Tree has dragons if you're more into adult reading. Fourth Wing and Aragon are all like adult books that feature dragons, I think, in all of them in some capacity. The next elective you can choose from is Study of Basic Elements, which is to read a book featuring either water, fire, earth, or air. Again, I have a lot of them to suggest. We have Avatar. There's graphic novels, there's many ways you can read about Avatar. Skandar also, each book follows a different element. The Wings of Fire series has both dragons and fire. Medusa has water in it, I believe. There's at least water on the cover. Pirates of the Dark Sea is also middle grade, and the last Firefox has a Firefox. If you're reading Sarah J. Maas and you would be up to Heir of Fire or want to reread that book, there's fire in the title. Wildfire by Hannah Grace, I think is her name, is a romance book. It has fire in the title. It works. Seek Me to Sleep has water. House of Earth and Blood, we have earth in the title. Name of the Wind, wind in the title, definitely works. Little Fires Everywhere for all my lit fic readers. Into the Waters by Paula, the writer of that train mystery book, and The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Torton is also, I think, kind of like a mystery book. He's a very peculiar author, but I know some people enjoy him. that also fits the bill. So again, I tried to like put in as many genres as I could, but it's one that I feel like, especially fire and water, there could be water on the cover, like Listen to Your Heart by Casey West, favorite book of all time, has water elements in it. It definitely works. And the last elective you can choose from is Healing 101. That one I have less recommendations to give you, but again, I feel like it's pretty easy, if depending on what you read at least, is a book with a healing plotline or character that is a healer. That can include doctor, nurses, vets, the whole shebang, physiotherapist, they heal you in some way. Even a psychologist, social worker works. Some romance books I know of are The Fake Mate, On Rotation, Washed Up by Candy Steiner, and The Enforcer by Avery Keelan. I'm sure there are other romance books with like someone being on a sports team and needing to be healed, those kinds of things. For fantasy books, I feel like it's a little bit more niche. There are a lot of books with healers. Again, Brandon Sanderson would definitely fit the bill for that one. But it's just harder for me to come up with fantasy books because I don't read a lot of them, and I don't feel like healing is necessarily a big part of middle grade fantasy, which is primarily what I read. So if any of you have recommendations for adult books or middle grade books featuring healing or being a healer in any capacity, do let us know in the comments, please. The last 3 things we need to cover are the different departments you can be a part of. The first department is the Department of Half-Truths and Full Cover-Ups, which your class for that department is Stealth, Evasion, and Concealment, which is to read either a dark academia, books with words like secret, cheat, or a book with a secret society. For that, I have Spellstone, which is a middle grade that has like a secret school, secret society, I believe. Mystery of Blackstone Gate, which is the buddy read for this. So if you want to double up, it's definitely doable with a lot of these prompts. You can double up with a buddy read. The Secret of Golden Island is a newer middle grade book that I have gotten that definitely has the word secret in the title. The Liar Society is one I'm super interested in. It's pitched as kind of like the Inheritance Games, but make it middle grade, which sounds really cool. Another book I've seen a lot around and was on Sarah's list is The School Between Winter and Fairyland. I know nothing about this book, but I've seen it so many times, so maybe it's one I should pick up eventually. Beneath the Swirling Sky is another book that was on Sarah's list, and it's kind of like Pages & Co., but the children go into paintings instead. When I tell you I clicked the buy now button so fast, it's getting to me today. It's definitely something I am going to try and fit into this readathon. It looks amazing. We also have The Last Shadow Warrior, which has to do with a school, kind of like a secret school. The Fake Out has the word fake. I feel it will work. That is a hockey romance? Yes, by Stephanie Archer. The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adam would definitely work as well. And for an obvious one, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. I feel like The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang also works for this. And again, I read less adult fantasy, so if you have any other recommendations for other people who are participating, let us know in the comments below. The second department is the Department of Magical Studies. The class for this semester is a book featuring nature or talking animals. We have Rescue of Ravenwood, which is a middle grade that would fit. Green Wild also definitely fits both for talking animal and plants, nature, that kind of vibe. Nevermoor has a talking cat. Witchlings also works. The Marvelers, according to Sarah, works, and it's one I know she put a few times in that list, so if you're looking to double up, I feel like that one could definitely work. Tress of the Emerald Sea has a talking rat, and An Unexpected Paradise, the cover is like filled with nature and the beach and that kind of thing. So if you're looking for a romance, it could be a romance with a nature cover. That would definitely fit as well, even if the plot in of itself is less about the nature. If there's at least nature on the cover, will allow it. And the last department, and the last of my recommendations, this had to be rapid fire because as you can see, we would have been here for half a day if I was to explain what every single book was about. But again, as some of my favorite YouTubers say, Google is free. If you want more information on specific books, I'll also be able to answer questions for you. Just ask me in the comments. So the last department is the Department of Supernatural Investigations. The class for this semester is Amateur Surveillance, and for that you need to read a book with a thief or spy or a mystery thriller. Now, mystery thriller obviously is very broad, so I only added a few to the list, but some other books that I thought of that would fit the bill are the Adventures on Trains series. They are very much mysteries, and they're kind of like spying on people to figure out and solve these murders, kidnappings, thefts. I think the first one is a theft even, so I definitely think that works. Lockwood and Co. is a like mystery middle grade series. Crookhaven is about a school for thieves, so again, you could probably double up with that one. Clockwork Conspiracy is also a middle grade mystery, and then for other mysteries I enjoy, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley, The Last Word I liked, but spoils a lot of books, just FYI if you weren't aware of that. The Night Swim and its sequel Dark Corners are also options. You can read The Maid. I just think there's so many, like Just Another Missing Person, The Perfect Couple, The Only Survivors. Like, there's just so many books out there in the mystery thriller genre, so you can definitely pick and choose. But again, I wanted to list out some middle grade ones because I do feel like there are less middle grade mysteries, but also if there's books coming out in September that you think would fit the bill, don't forget about new releases. And just, I for one know there's a lot of books that are coming out in the next few weeks that I'm like, could possibly add to the TBR, but the TBR is still something that I am working towards. It should be up probably in the next week so that I can give you guys even more ideas on books, but I still need to like figure a few things out for myself. If you have any recommendations for me or for everyone else, again, leave them in the comments, and I cannot wait to have so much fun with you guys during this readathon. Again, all the information concerning it will be in the description if you missed out, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading!